Welcome everyone to the State of Latinos Teens, a virtual youth town hall. I'm Jessica Arcos, a rising freshman at UCLA, a HYLP alumna, and an intern for Hope. I'm excited to MC this year's town hall where just a year ago, I was part of the group representing Kern County, delivering a presentation about mental health of Latina teens in Bakersfield. Today, we will hear 7 briefing-style presentations from participants of Hope's Youth Leadership Program. Before we begin with our featured speakers and presentations, we would like to review some housekeeping items. Everyone is muted, so please use the Q&A box to ask our presenters questions. We will get to as many questions as possible at the end of the briefings. You can also use the chat box to communicate with the Hope staff and fellow participants. We encourage you to let us know what city, school, or organization you are from. Also, presentations and short Q&A will be open the town hall up for public comments from the audience. There are 2 ways you can give public comment. You can do so by letting us know in the chat box that you would like to speak. Make sure to share the name, location, and topic you'd like to speak about. The Hope staff will flag it and provide further instructions. You can also submit written public comment by using the website menti.com, entering the code 50118761. Be sure to share where you are from. Written comments will be shared with the audience during the public comment portion of today's town hall. Now please help me welcome Helen Torres, Hope's Chief Executive Officer, who will provide remarks about the program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm so excited to be part of this virtual town hall and ready to listen to all the incredible young women and the hard work that they did to put this together for our learning and our ability to work with them to ensure a bright future. I also want to give a big shout out to Jessica and thank her for her work with Hope as an intern and all that she's accomplishing. So with that, Hope has hosted a youth town hall annually for almost 15 years as a way of promoting and highlighting youth civic engagement. The purpose of the Youth Town Hall is to ensure Latinas, adolescents' voices are taken into account on issues that impact them daily. Throughout our country's history, we've seen youth activism create transformative changes. Over the last year, we've seen young people become very engaged through voter turnout and through civic protests to root out hate and rethinking police brutality. Our goal here today is to provide you, the audience, with insights into the important issues identified and analyzed by the participants of Hope's Youth Leadership Program class of 2021. These remarkable young ladies stepped up and took on this leadership opportunity during a difficult time for them, their families, and their communities. I want to commend them for their leadership and I look forward to their presentations and working with them as we all work to make this place, our United States of America, a better place and a better country. I will also like to take this opportunity to thank program sponsors, Kaiser Permanente, Union Bank, Southwest Airlines, the California Endowment, Comcast, and Chevron and PG&E for their ongoing commitment to our youth and to Latinas and to Hope. I would also be remiss not to acknowledge the elected representatives and staff that are here today from Senator Newman and also Assembly Member Dr. Choi. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to our youth leaders. And I hope we can turn listening into action as we let them lead the way. Thank you all very much for your participation today.
Beautiful remarks, Helen, and thank you for your leadership. Now, welcome Hope Board Member, fellow Kern County resident, and Regional Campus Director for the University of La Verne's Kern County campus, Nora Dominguez.
You're on mute.
There's that Zoom mute virus button. Sorry, everybody. Listen, I'm just so excited to be here with you all. You know, I do serve on the board, the Hope Board, but this program is so important to us. And a little bit about myself. My name is Nora Dominguez. I am the Regional Campus Director for University of La Verne. But why was this so special that they asked me to be a part of this session here today? Is because I'm what you call a late bloomer. I was late coming out of the gate, ESL student, having to learn academically. I was always behind. Going to college was nothing, you know, that wasn't something a part of our family culture. And so everything was worked a little bit harder and harder and harder. And so I was on what you call a late bloomer. I went to college way later. I tried right after high school, but I went to college way later. But it's how you finish. And that's why I want to encourage you ladies today. I'm so excited to be with you because you don't have to go this long round, you know, that I did navigating through life and navigating through college. You all are so young and so powerful, and you have just proven through this program that you can endure, you have what it takes, you're committed. And I want to congratulate all the young women that have been, you know, they're going to be presenting today. I'm so excited to hear your presentations. I have no doubt you'll do a fantastic job. So take a deep breath, relax. You're among good friends here that are supporting you. So get a handle on those nerves while we introduce you in a few minutes. But I commend you today. I have no doubt you'll do a fantastic job. And because you followed through with this program, it wasn't easy. Don't take it lightly that you made it through, you know, the pandemic and going through this program. I know it's been a tough year for you and your families, and that is truly impressive and deserves the highest recognition. And trust me, we're giving that to you today. I also want to acknowledge the program advisors who have taken this year more than ever, have gone above and beyond to support all the young ladies as a part of this program. We're so proud of you, and we're so grateful that you really invested so much into making sure they all got to this point. This has been a strange year and a test for all of us. But on behalf of Hope's Board of Directors, I would like to say, and we recognize all of you, that we appreciate you very much. So no more about all of that. We're so excited. This is all about you and all the hard work that you put in. The fruit of your labors is about to happen right now. So we're excited to hear all the presentations. So I'm gonna turn it right back to Jessica. Thank you, and onward, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora, for your motivational and insightful words and your support of our youth. Now, we are going to turn over the floor to the truth experts on youth issues, our Hope Youth Leadership Program participants. It's the objective of the program to promote college-going culture while helping develop civic-minded young leaders. Over the last 12 weeks, these 24 young ladies have engulfed themselves in a survey project where they evaluated the needs of young people in their respective communities. They took a look at universal issues like college access, public safety, systemic racism, internet safety, and mental health, and youth civic engagement. Today, they will share their findings and recommendations. As a reminder, if you have any questions about today's presentation, please input them in the Q&A box. And if you would like to submit a public comment, you can do so via our public comment tool, menti.com, using the code 50118761. Now, without further ado, please help me welcome from Fresno the students from the Youth Leadership Institute who will be presenting their findings on tackling systemic racism through education.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicole Hernandez. My pronouns are she and her. I go to Really Middle College High School. With me are Martha, Jade, Jasmine, and Sharon. We are part of the Fresno County Hispanas Youth Leadership Program with the Leadership Institute, and today we will be presenting on implementing ethnic studies and its possible effects on Latinx youth. I will pass it on to Sharon to talk more about this topic. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Sharon Moreno. My pronouns are she and her, and I go to Roosevelt High School. In our survey, we wanted to capture how students in Fresno County are impacted by COVID-19 and racism. And we also wanted to see how youth are currently engaged both civically and politically to help our community. We created the survey and sent it out online on social media as well as to teachers and counselors to recruit youth of color from Fresno County. Some of the questions we asked included their opinions on matters such as systemic racism being a major issue in our society, as well as the racial climate in communities and schools. We received 275 responses from various students of color across Fresno County. For today's presentation, we will focus on responses from 114 youth who self-identify as Latinas. If we look to the top right graph, we see that 4% of students who answered the survey were freshmen, 33% were sophomores, 42% were juniors, and out of the total 21% who answered the survey were seniors. Below that, out of the collective response, 65.9 reported that they are first generation. Moving on to the research questions. We asked students their thoughts on systemic racism, and 43% strongly agreed that systemic racism is a major issue in our society, with another 34.1% also agreeing to this. We also see that a majority of students think that racism is a major issue, specifically in their community. Over 72.6% of students said that the COVID-19 pandemic had an impact in their attitude towards civic participation. Now I'll pass it to my colleague, Jasmine.
Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine. My pronouns are she and her. I'm from Bullard High School, and here we asked, in the last year, have you ever been afraid of being attacked or harmed while in school? With 81% of them responding no, but 19% of the students reported that they do have concerns of being attacked while in school. Another question that strongly reflected Fresno County was, have you ever been afraid that you would be a target of a hate crime because of your identity? Although 70% of students said no, we still have 30% saying yes. In our survey, we asked students, do you feel safe in your community? Only 56% of them said always, but 44% of them don't feel safe in their very own community. We also asked whether they feel safe at school. 7% reported sometimes, 30% reported most of the time, and 63% reported always. Students also said the most important racial equity issues include education access, equity in healthcare access, and police reform. However, 76% of students reported that they talk with their parents about issues only monthly and sometimes less than that amount, and only 2% said daily. Now I'll pass it on to my colleague, Martha.
Hi, my name is Martha. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I go to Kermit High School. After reviewing our data, some of the main points that stood out are that youth see racism as a major issue in both the community and society. Youth feel safe in their communities and their schools, although they express the importance in various racial equity issues. However, we are seeing that there is no communication with parents around politics or community issues at home. With the data presented, we believe that ethnic studies may be a way to provide youth a space to discuss these issues. The course would be structured as a mandatory requirement for sophomores or juniors and will consist of a two-semester curriculum separated by units that cover diverse experiences of multiple communities to encourage students' awareness, ability to learn and engage with others, and how communities of Black, Indigenous, and people of color have and continue to be oppressed. Each unit will have a project students implement at the end. And I'll pass it to Vanna.
All right, now why is ethnic studies important and what is it? So ethnic studies emerged in the 1960s due to social reform movements for equity and empowerment, and then implemented in the university curriculum to expand and diversify classroom content. It focuses not only on historical topics, but also in literature, politics, economics, and social justice, and improves academic performance, specifically according to a 2016 Stanford statistics. Ethnic studies increased effort amongst the students regarding attendance and grades, leading to an increase in high school credits. So this ultimately becomes relevant, meaningful, and helpful to affirm identities of ethnic minorities that also make up 71% of California's population. Overall, ethnic studies encourage critical and global thinking, which guides others to see the perspective of certain ethnic groups and learn more about their experiences and how they are affected in the American institution. In addition, it allows us to understand the past as well as the context of current events and is used as a guide to change our community. Principally, ethnic studies reflect narratives and points of views rooted in the diverse groups' experiences and history. And I'll pass it on to Martha. Jade.
Hi, my name is Jade. So I'm having technical difficulties. My background won't work in the first place. Let me fix that real quick. There. So apologies, but hi, my name is Jade. So to delve more into the issue, Black, Indigenous people of color are not included in their classes' curriculum and materials. When we are, which is very rarely, we are often misportrayed because our material was written by a white author. An example is To Kill a Mockingbird. While it's not an inherently bad book, we know the author had good intentions. It's not fair that white authors get to profit off of the trauma of Black, Indigenous people of color. Even though there are several pieces of literature written by us with and without that trauma, and yet they aren't included. Now, since there is a lack of books, miseducation comes into the scene and arises. This is an issue since it affects personal and interpersonal relationships between races. By implementing ethnic studies, the understanding of one's identities and others can and will improve. Thank you.
So implementing ethnic studies into the school system in Fresno County will create more awareness with Black, Indigenous, people of color, youth cultural struggles and achievements in hopes to decrease the issues around racism throughout the communities in Fresno County, as well as building resiliency and healing within our BIPOC communities to ensure that our ethnic studies course will represent various cultures. We suggest that the first step will be the creation of the committee made by the diverse individuals. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Fresno ladies. Amazing job. Our next presenters are from Los Angeles, California, and attend Lincoln High School. They will be speaking on internet access and safety.
Good afternoon. My name is Victoria Galvez.
Hi, my name is Lizette Salcedo.
And my name is April Aguilera. Hello, we are from Abraham Lincoln High School, located in Los Angeles. In our briefing today, we will focus on internet access and safety on Latinas in Los Angeles. LA has a population of Hispanic of about 4.9 million, with 48.6% being Latina. Abraham Lincoln High School's demographic is about 65.3% Latina students. We gathered our information by using Google Forms to survey 104 female students from the ages of 14 through 18.
We asked the question, when posting online, how often do you consider how it will impact your future? The majority of Lincoln students, being 64.8%, put sometimes to not often, didn't consider how posting something carelessly could impact their future. Possible factors to this could be not knowing how dangerous the internet is because this information isn't provided to students in school. And if it is, most of the times it's about how to take care of the school devices and not how to take care of yourself while using these devices. Next slide, please. The next question we asked if their parents or guardians had rules about their internet use. Majority of the answers we received marked no. The reason for not having any rules was because their parents didn't grow up with technology, so they don't know much about the dangers of it. I personally did have to teach myself how to navigate around the internet at a young age, from making Facebook accounts for my parents to setting up automatic online payments for bills. I learned about the dangers of the internet through shows my mom used to watch, so I knew not to talk to strangers, give out personal information, stuff like that. Since I'm the oldest out of 3 kids, I'm the one setting up rules for my younger siblings. Like, I don't let them have certain apps if I think they're way too young for them.
So I think I did well handling something new at a young age without anybody there to make sure I was doing the right thing, but that's not the case for everybody else. Next slide, please.
Lack of knowledge on internet safety based on the data is a major issue within students and parents. 2/3 of parents in the US with at least one child younger than 18 but who may also have an adult child say parenting is harder than it was today, what was harder 20 years ago because of technology. Things have changed as technology continues to advance, so parenting has to adapt to that change as well. However, parents don't know how to change their parenting around technology because they don't know how to use the internet or other electronics themselves and don't know how to teach their child how to use it responsibly and safely. According to The Guardian, 69% of parents said they know less than their children about mobile phone use. Parents don't know how to use their phone and other electronics and usually end up asking their children for help. For example, my parents and always ask me or my siblings for help, like trying to Google something or even trying to order something online. Parents themselves don't know the dangers of internet safety and how it affects their children. This leads to their children not knowing how to use internet safely. Parents assume their child will be responsible online, but don't know how to direct them to be responsible online. Now let's look at how the lack of knowledge on internet safety on parents affects their children. Next slide, please.
Based on what my peers said beforehand, not a lot of students think of the potential negative impact of careless posting and how it would affect their future. With one post, it can change students' life forever. These examples out of many show how one single post made students not graduate. Two Georgia high school seniors have reportedly been expelled and will not graduate after posting racist video on social media. Or be expelled. Students expelled from university after racist social media post in Black Mask goes viral. Or not attend college at all. According to the Kaplan Test Prep, more than 25% of colleges search Google or Facebook on applicants. As well, 1/3 discover something that hurt chances of getting in. Students may believe something like this will never happen to them, but it's already happened in my school. I was in 9th grade when a girl posted one video, one click of a button, and she was expelled. These students weren't taught the proper way to use the internet. If we continue not to teach students the right way to use the internet, we could potentially harm their future. Next slide, please. Based on the survey results and outside research, we have developed 2 recommendations. Number 1, we want mandatory internet safety workshops held by schools and LAUSD for parents and students. These workshops should address online bullying, should address internet usage, rules of safety, and dangers of the internet. We saw how Abraham Lincoln High School students didn't know the dangers of the internet. Schools should provide workshops to teach students those dangers and other things. And number 2, in addition to these workshops, we recommend adding online safety to the LAUSD curriculum starting elementary. This new curriculum should cover the importance of internet privacy, managing screen time, and online safety at school and at home. We want students and parents to learn the dangers of internet. Help us make this possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Lincoln High School. Great job. Our next presentation is from Mount Pleasant High School in San Jose, California. Lizette will speak to us about youth civic participation.
Hello, my name is Lisette Rodriguez, and I'm from Santa Clara County, and I go by she, her. And I did a research project on civic engagement. Next slide, yeah. In the following slides, I will go over a few main focuses of the project. So number 1, objective. Should schools promote civic engagement among their students? Number 2, focus group. What do current high school students think? Number 3, research. What is available to the youth and community? And number 4, conclusion. Why does it matter? Objective. Schools should promote civic engagement in the form of a separate class or club that unites the youth to support their community. Without the support, misinformation and fake news will continue to plague the minds of the youth and deprive them of an educated opinion. I firsthand have witnessed it and have seen what it can do to somebody who just doesn't know what to actually believe with all the misinformation going around. Students are less and less aware of current events occurring around them or in the world. Many of them who show a slight interest in seeking more knowledge turn to their social media for coverage or information. Just the last 2 elections show a comparison of what civic engagement can do. In 2016, young voter turnout was 37%, and in 2020, it increased to 54% of youth. In Santa Clara County, voter turnout for 18 to 24-year-olds was 54% in 2018. Schools continue doing a great job retelling history or recalling historical events that created the environment we inhabit, and the voting turnout shows it. However, not enough is being taught about current civic issues or the great impact it will have on our future. Students know what's going on a surface level, but through social media, they can easily access information without really understanding the context and having like a stable a place that is unbiased and gives you all the information and it's clear. Somewhere at school, a club, or class will help you. Focus group. I'd like to move on to our focus group. A group of Latina students from Mount Pleasant High School convened for an hour-long discussion about healthcare access and civic participation. As the conversation carried on, it became clear to me that students were most passionate about civic engagement, despite not really understanding what civic engagement meant. After giving them a quick definition, they realized that some of the stuff that they were doing was part of civic engagement. Some of the questions asked range from politics to acts of leadership within the communities. And when asked about civic engagement, 4 out of the 7 subjects were to be eligible to vote by the next election and were pre-registered. 2 out of the 4 of them had a family voting history. Civic engagement response. Most subjects felt the need and responsibility to contribute to their community by voting or actively participating in decisions. However, when asked about last year's proposition of lowering the voting age, many were unsure it would be beneficial for youth since they don't have a clear understanding of societal issues like some adults. And even then, some of them had no clue that was being proposed as well. So they were just not aware of what's going on. And civic engagement reflection. They expressed not learning enough about community support or issues from school, but through external sources like the digital web. But even then, the web, if not taken with a grain of salt, can lead to a whirlwind of misinformation and fake news. This misinterpretation of information can cause heavy consequences. Focus group. Most of them expressed a social view divide among their families between younger and older members. Regular news media tends to cater to the viewers and their political stance, or so families and just groups of people, or even their religious belief. There is yet to exist an unbiased source of information that highlights both sides and doesn't tend to favor one or the other based on trying to cater for the said viewers. Student opinion. Student 1 agrees schools should do more civically to engage youth and it actively posts on social media. Student 2 says schools should make more gatherings spreading awareness of social issues. And student 3 was completely unaware of contrasting ideologies until informed by a younger family member and social media. Research. San Jose Youth Civic Participation. San Jose Youth Commission is recognized as an official youth advisory group to the mayor and city council. They develop policy recommendations concerning the youth and supporting them in helping with their community. Californians for Justice. They empower youth of color to push for racial justice and transform schools into a place where all students have equal opportunity. Siren increases civic participation among youth through voter registration and education. And just a quick side note, most of them are ran by an adult and are promoted to the youth, but they tend to channel their focus to all interested and not specifically the youth. So only a couple of organizations have a shift to focus to informing the youth and supporting them in defending their interests and beliefs. Youth advocacy information. The Law Foundation of Silicon Valley has legal advocates for children and youth and advances the legal rights of children and youth. They empower them to lead a healthy and productive life. And child advocates of Silicon Valley have this program called CASA, where they have trained volunteers that ensure neglected or abused foster care youth has a stable adult in their life to help them. Youth advocacy. There is yet to exist an official organization that advocates for teenagers and is run actively by them. Besides San Jose Youth Commission, there isn't much of a youth presence in Santa Clara County, besides the adults kind of helping other youth kind of figure out what's going on. But even then, some of the stuff is not even made aware to them without them doing their part and doing some research. Conclusion. Okay, the youth needs more exposure to civic engagement through the means of education. As of now, most youth find information about their community either purposely or accidentally through social media post or another secondary source. That doesn't exist an organization. There doesn't exist an organization or class that helps the youth understand today's issues or keep them updated. Most aren't diagnosed to the true events happening around us, and having a trusting source to, like at school, to educate the youth will help them be more active in their communities. Thank you.
Great job, Lizette. I agree. We can do much more as a society to encourage younger people to get more involved in civic life, both in the ballot box and in their local communities. I just want to highlight a statistic that Lizette shared. According to Tufts University, in 2020, California saw a 17-point jump in voter turnout for young people ages 18 through 29, with 54% of these people in that age group turning out to vote. There is much more we can do to build on this momentum and keep them engaged. Now, moving along to our next presentation, it will be from students from Shafter High School in Kern County. They will be presenting on college access.
Hello, my name is Yarita Molina, and these are my group mates, Akami Lopez, Maria Camacho, and Yareli Lopez. And today we'll be talking about college accessibility in Shafter High. Next slide, please. For a brief introduction, our school resides in the city of Shafter, where we have a population of over 19,500 people. Over 1,600 are students. The majority of our students are Hispanic at a percentage of 90%. 7.9% of the students are white and 0.4% are Black. Through our research, we learned that 83% of our community's population come from low-income families, and 73% of our students are eligible for free lunch. Going through school records, we found that 12% of our generals are in AP enrollment, and where 62 passed the AP exams. However, we found that despite having a 94% graduate rate, only 47% of our graduates are pursuing college or a vocational program despite our school offering financial aid and scholarships. I will pass it to Yareli now.
We can't hear you, Yareli.
How about now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Good morning. Good afternoon, I'm sorry. So our personal decision to partake in this issue was mainly due to us realizing that we're growing up. We will be graduating next year and we feel other students, well as ourselves, may be feeling we are not prepared and maybe even be second guessing if we decide to attend college at all. And this can be something very negative of if students unable to go to college was because they were bad kids when attending school. Being able to go to college is not an option for everyone, and we want to know how students feel regarding college and whether their decisions to attend can in any way be helped with. We realize that there have been talks going to college and how to prepare grades wise, but there's no real talk on how to manage experience when attending to college or university. So sometimes our schools will bring guest speakers or even teachers to speak about their experience, but they never really touch upon the subject of how they handle themselves financially or what was the thing that helped with them get through college money-wise. Although scholarships are offered, there are only so many that can be given out, and even then, they are not always enough. Seeing through the research of our community, we also wanted to find out more as to why so many of our students did not attend college despite the high graduation rate. And we want to know if there was more to it with our current future generals. I will pass it to Akimi now.
Good afternoon. For our research, we were able to get about 40 participants to take a survey that would convey their feelings on attending college. We had 66.7% of juniors answer, along with 31% of seniors to answer, with the rest being sophomores. 92% of our participants were female, 88.1% identifying as Latinas. Next slide, please. Through the survey results, we found that when asked, 90.5% of our students would like to go to college, but the main reason students would not want to or cannot attend college would mostly be due to the cost. 71.4% answered as so. When asked if they felt prepared, 66.7% answered that they only felt somewhat prepared, 21.4% saying not at all, and 11.9% answering assuredly that they felt very prepared. We had felt that there might be more other reasons, along with the cost, that made students feel they were unable to attend college, so we asked if they met their college preparatory courses. 81% answered that they have or will complete their courses required. 9.5% said that they have not taken the required courses, while the rest said that they don't even know what college preparatory courses are. Now I will pass it on to Maria.
Good afternoon. As we conducted this research, we were able to learn and understand many things. Throughout the data, we were able to understand why many young people don't pursue a higher education after high school. Due to all the money college requires, we were able to understand and observe that those who don't go to college aren't necessarily bad kids, as society likes to label them for not obtaining a higher education. But instead, we were able to learn that as a society, we are quick to judge those who don't go to college. We don't see that college itself is already a hard process, and it's even harder as stated in the results when students don't feel prepared and see college as an obstacle due to the lack of accessibility and resources, which is unfair and disappointing because they're wanting to go to college to better themselves, obtain a better future, or even help out their community. However, the high college costs and the lack of accessibility and knowledge of college is making it harder for them. Helping students, however, be able to become more prepared both financially and mentally will make the college obstacle easier to defeat. Next slide, please.
So we believe that students might feel more prepared for college if there were just simple talks on how to manage financial responsibility. We have had talks in our school on how to be prepared for college grades-wise and even course-wise, but maybe more talks on as a whole school community would make our students feel more prepared. Sometimes not all students are able to hear the information being given out due to their schedules, which is unfair because these talks aren't just about college, but how they will make the biggest transition of their lives from being a teenage youth to a full-grown adult. We understand that college is not for everyone, but research has shown many students would still like to attend college, but the cost is too high. We found that through our research from both our city community and our school community that we are struggling with money. Being able to make an increase in the minimum wage or more information on financial aid and or easier access to it would make not only college accessibility easier, but also help our low-income population to strive for the better. Thank you. This has been our take on college accessibility.
Thank you, Shafter. Awesome presentation. Our next group joins us from Vacaville in Solano County, where the ladies attend Will C. Wood High School. They will be presenting on public safety. Take it away, ladies.
Hello, we are Mackenzie Gomez and Daniela Raya, and today we will be discussing on the public safety and racial equality on Latino students in Vacaville, specifically at Will C. Wood High School. Our population in Solano is 51.5% being white, 14.3% being Hispanic, and 9.41% being African American. We had our classmates take a survey where many share not feeling safe. Our research shows that more than 62% have experienced discrimination, 68% have seen or experienced being stopped for no reason, 31% have been asked for papers, and 18% have seen or witnessed being pointed at with a weapon by the law. With curiosity, for our school, we looked for more information. By researching on Pew Research Center, we discovered that Hispanics in the U.S., 58% have experienced discrimination. Based on this study, it shows that it's not just Hispanics but any Latino with darker skin, when on the other hand, when Latinos with lighter skin don't have to face this type of discrimination. The problem with discrimination is started by the color of one's skin. We see this on the chart with African Americans being the ones who experience this the most. But how can we make the community feel more comfortable? I believe our older members, parents, etc. can start teaching children that we are all the same. Like my mom says, La casa es escuela. By starting with the little ones, it will be easier to change. Gen Z is also known for making many movements, and if we all got together, we could stop discrimination and make this place safe for everyone. I'd like to pass it to my partner, Donnie. Thank you.
Thank you, Mackenzie, and hello, everyone. I am Daniela Arraiga Gonzalez, and I will be speaking about racial equity. After engaging with our community, our survey conveyed the information presented. First, let's establish who thinks racism is an issue. After asking students if they thought racism was an issue in Solano, 43.8% of the people surveyed believe it might or might not be an issue, 37.5% say it is an issue, and 18.7% say racism in Solano is not an issue. As you can see, many of our teens aren't involved in challenging racism. On the graph in the lower left, you can see that most of the answers were no. The questions asked were if they attended a meeting related to race, if they tried to get a leadership role in any group, if they were in a group that was fighting racism. Most of the answers were no. However, many have participated in some sort of activism. Students are not fully engaged in activism. How can we push for full engagement? We can do so by informing students about the issues there is around them. It can start in school teaching. Next. We asked students the following questions in our survey to answer. Classes teach about diverse cultures and traditions. 25% said not true at all. The other 25% said a little true, and the other 25% said it was somewhat true. The next question we asked was, you have learned about new cultures at school. Most of the answers said very true. In schools, you get to learn about different races and cultures. Most of the answers were not true at all. Textbooks show people of many races and ethnicities. Most answers were not true at all. School encourages to learn about different cultures and races. Most people said not true at all. Teachers encourage awareness of social issues affecting your culture. 25% said not true at all, while the other 75% said somewhat true. Teachers teach about racial inequality in the US. Most said a little true. What does this mean? It means that schools have to teach about different races and cultures to have students be aware of all the different types of issues. This will help students be more acceptable of other cultures and races. Next, please. George Floyd, as everyone knows, died on May 25, 2020, after former police officer Derek Chauvin kneed on his neck, leaving Floyd with no oxygen, resulting in death. His death was on national news. People started protesting all over the country. Community members of Solano participated in a protest for Floyd's death in Fairfield and Vacaville. Here in the image, the people are in front of the Vacaville Police Department protesting. You might be asking, how does this relate to racial equality in Solano? Well, people heard about Floyd and wanted justice. They took a stance and started protesting. What does this mean for us? This means that in order to get more teens engaged in activism and a change for racial equality, we must inform them about the inequalities that are happening in their community. How do we inform our teens about the racial inequalities happening around them? Well, we need schools to steer away from regular book curriculum and use recent and familiar news to teach. This will not only help engage students with their community and to be an active member that stands against the racial inequality, but it will also help them be vocal about what they believe and what they stand for. It will help students voice their opinion. Next. What do we do now? We need to inform students about their nearby issues. Schools could include community issues into the curriculum, and in order to make this a smoother process, parents need to teach kids that everyone is equal regardless of color. Next. As a community, we have the power to make equality for us all and a safer community. Thank you for your time.
Great job, Danny and Mackenzie. At this time, I would like to welcome Assembly Member Dr. Choi to share some words.
Hello, this is Assembly Member Stephen Choi. Is this my turn?
Member Choi, we can hear you. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, my pleasure.
I know you have some words for not just your constituents from Orange County, but for all of the youth here. So feel free, the floor is yours.
Okay, if you allow me to say a few words, I'm so happy to join you and meet you over this internet, and I've learned a lot from your research, and all the students have done and made a presentation. We are certainly living in a very complicated society right now. As a member of minority in race, minority, Hispanics are Latina is ladies of Hispanic female students, as I understand. But I come from Korea, first generation immigrant from Korea. And myself, I have come through all the way educating myself from master's degree to PhD in my career in higher education, and now 23 years in politics. I have learned a lot and also experienced a lot about the racial issues, the social issues that this country is facing, particularly since last year, pandemic issues that we are still going through. And then also Minneapolis, the BLM, entire country trauma we have gone through, and a lot of issues right now we are facing in this country. And your sensitivity in particular that you have presented on ethnic studies in schools, which I voted for as a member of minority, even though I belong to Republican Party, and our Republican Party caucus and then our all members casted their votes to oppose to that idea. but my belief was very different because this country is made up of all different races, immigrants from all different parts of the world, and understanding each other's background and cultures and history, story to tell their accomplishments in many sectors, such as business, politics, literature, acting, or whichever in medicine, education. You can see many accomplished and contributions that have made by different ethnic groups. So without such study in schools, in particular K to 12, hopefully in high school age, it'll be very, very important. And even though it may be only a superficial, only certain short period and the superficial aspects of a different culture or race can be taught in a short curriculum, but some exposure will be much better than nothing. For example, I'm the founder of Irvine Korean Cultural Festival, because when we were celebrating January 13th as Korean American Day, which was announced by the Congress about, I believe, about 20 years ago. But the celebration was ceremony, 5 minutes or 10 minutes of receiving resolutions and taking pictures, would not do anything. So my reason for creating festival for whole day, community members to come out and enjoy, listen to music, modern, cultural, traditional, K-pops, and also experience Korean food, kimchi, bulgogi, etc. So let's learn about our Korean culture, what we bring into America. And by understanding, we become the friends. And the city of Irvine is known to be most diverse, integrated city. And since at that time when I was a council member and the mayor, there's two council members got elected the same year. Out of 5, that created a 40%. So I thought that there might be some jealousy, some red flag, or who are they, you know? So there may be some misunderstandings of different culture, because at that time the Orange County Register on the front page and the second page, the entire page was dedicated. Oh, Koreans are coming, Koreans are coming. You know, they just label that as like an ethnic group that we don't belong to. So that's the reason I created that the festival. Everybody, community members come out and let's experience together and learn about us. Let's become friends so that we can live in a community with peace and harmony. So that's the reason I voted for ethnic studies program in high schools and then also in colleges. So your involvement and in that sensitive subject and all the issues that are involved in racial matters and the difficulties right now we are going through. I think your contribution, your involvement in politics will be very important. I salute to you, and any way we can communicate elected officials, so you need to get involved, volunteer, and learn about the election process, get involved, and that will definitely create broader opportunities for you to succeed. And then also I can go on many different areas through my experience, but I'm sure you have time limitations, so I'm gonna stop here unless you have any questions. And thank you for this opportunity. And then I salute your effort and the students that get involved in social issues and political issues and educating to each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Dr. Choi, for your time. I know you're pressed for time, so I just wanted to say thank you for coming and for listening to our youth. And we're definitely going to follow up with you with the information from your constituents in Orange County who are actually going to be talking about mental health. So we'll follow up with your office, but thank you. And I'm going to take your story about your festival as an invitation for all of us to go and have some good food in Irvine. And definitely, I agree with you that learning about each other's cultures is important so that we can build a society that we all want to live in. And I think food is a great way to do that. So thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you. Great success in your career, everybody.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to turn it back to our MC, Jessica.
Thank you. Moving along to our next two presentations that will touch on the same subject, mental health, but with different regional perspectives and recommendations. First, let me provide some context about mental health statistics for Latina teens. According to the Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health, in 2017, suicide was the second leading cause of death for Hispanics ages 15 to 34. That same year, suicide attempts for Hispanic girls in grades 9 through 12 were 40% higher than for non-Hispanic white girls in the same age group. The perceived cause for these alarming figures is a disconnection between the U.S. to raise teens and their parents, as well as stigma around mental health in the Latino community. We must also consider the profound impact that the 15 months has had on the mental health of our youth. Why is this alarming? Well, you should consider the fact that 1 in 4 Gen Zers are Hispanic and or Latinx. And here in California, over 50% of students enrolled in California public schools are Hispanic and or Latinx. We must address this issue from a policy and cultural perspective. We encourage young people and adult allies today to learn more about it. We will be sharing an excellent piece released by Vice titled "The Kids Are Not Okay," which shines more light on this topic. With that, I'd like to introduce our next student group, the Ladies of Girls Inc. of Orange County.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming to this important town hall meeting. My name is Alejandra, and I am a part of the Girls Inc. of Orange County. And together, our group represents 6 different high schools from 4 different districts in Orange County. For our civics project, we mostly focused on the importance of mental health and the need for wellness centers in schools' campuses. Along with that, we will also be discussing recommendations for wellness days, staff support, and resources at the end of our presentation.
Hello, my name is Natalie, and to give some background of Orange County, we used data from the 2020 census. Orange County has a population of a little more than 3 million people, and of those 21.7 are under the age of 18, and 34% of the population identify as Latino. Our focus point of mental health came about because of the current pandemic and not knowing where to go for resources, since we no longer went to school, and school is where we were able to receive the resources if they were offered. Now we are on our own. In the 2020 census, it notes that 57.7% of Orange County teens were less likely to go without treatment. Through our survey, we were able to collect 50 responses from all across Orange County. Most of our responses were from juniors and those who identified as Latinos. We will now be sharing our research and data results.
The data that we found in articles informs us that schools are the most common setting in which kids can access mental health care. Based upon the surveys that we received, they have shown in the past 12 months, only 16% out of 50 responses voted yes to being able to meet with a therapist or counselor to talk about their feelings, while 84% responded with a no. Students having easier access to receiving help on campus can be surrounded by a friendly environment, positively impacting their mental health. Not only have students not been able to talk to a counselor or therapist, but COVID-19 also impacted many students negatively, causing an increase of 40% more stress and anxiety onto adolescents. Providing mental health care access to students will help those who struggle with mental illnesses such as stress and anxiety.
Our survey reported that over half of our high school peers have been feeling such intense feelings of hopelessness and sadness that they've been dropping out of their usual activities, directly exposing that mental wellness is vital for students to pursue their passions and their academic and extracurricular success. Over the past decade, poor mental health in students has risen due to the prevalence of social media, rising rates of poverty, and COVID-19, causing mental health needs to increase. However, low-income Black and Latino students are reported to have less access to mental health treatment, despite their higher rates of depression and mental health needs. To make this problem worse, California lags behind other states in the student-to-counselor ratio, with a 612 students to 1 counselor ratio, while the American School Counselors Association recommends a 250 to 1 ratio. Students need more accessibility to counselors in order to prioritize social-emotional learning. Investing in wellness centers for students is proven to be beneficial for a student's working habits and mental health, due to the fact that every dollar put into mental health treatment translates into $4 in improved health and productivity.
Based on our data, the evidence indicates that there is a wide gap between students and mental health accessibility, especially with a large student population as opposed to a very small number of counselors. This conveys that students are not receiving the resources necessary to thrive academically, emotionally, and mentally. Taking everything into account, we ask that schools provide students with a wellness center, along with the Wellness Wednesday, to ensure students are being properly supported. The Wellness Center would provide students with an environment where they would be able to prioritize on improving their well-being and mental state, which can be extremely crucial during these hard times. The Wellness Center will be its own room with proper resources such as meditation, reflection journals, therapy toys for anxiety, books, and calming music. We ask that we have more counselors present in case students need someone to talk to. I personally have witnessed the benefits of the Wellness Center firsthand as one is currently implemented in my school. Students come in to vent, find peace, and release all the pressure put on them, so that when they are doing their schoolwork, they are in the right state of mind to concentrate, which greatly improves their performance in school. As someone who is a peer leader at my school, I spent a good amount of time in the Wellness Center. I got the opportunity to speak and listen to my peers myself, and I've heard the hardships they have faced during school. I can easily say that after students have come into the Wellness Center, they leave feeling 10 times better. I myself have gone to the Wellness Center to relieve stress, and it has incredibly enhanced my mental state. I believe having a wellness center in all schools is important, but at least having one in every school in Orange County would be a great start for the well-being and future of our youth. Additionally, having school 5 days a week along with homework on weekends can be extremely stressful, which is why we propose a Wellness Wednesday. This would be a shortened school day that would allow students to recover from past work and stress students endure of having 6 classes. As an example, Foothill High School in Orange County has already created a Wellness Wednesday. Students at Foothill have said that they feel way more relaxed and less stressed being given more time to study and catch up on schoolwork. This can have a major impact as it can prevent students from developing mental illnesses in the future, such as anxiety and depression.
So along with our research and all the data collected, we concluded that schools are clearly lacking in the mental health care department and do not have the proper resources required in order for students to get the treatment they need. We strongly believe that the implementation of a wellness center on campus can help schools be better equipped to help improve and maintain the mental and physical well-being of their students. However, with that, more staffing should be included so that there are enough counselors available per student. We recommend that 2 to 3 counselors we recommend having 2 to 3 counselors per grade on campus. As a new student at Western High School my sophomore year, I was very nervous and struggled getting comfortable with my new environment. I became comfortable with my counselor and was told I could go to her whenever I needed during any class. I would ask for a hall pass to go to her office about 2 to 3 times a week, but due to her busy schedule, I would only be able to go to her office once or twice a month, which affected my mental health and academic grades greatly. Schools should also strongly consider turning Wednesdays into Wellness Wednesdays. Doing this would allow students to properly deal with their stress and to have a much-needed break in the middle of the school week. Workshops focusing on mental health and other social emotional learning can be given during this time. Outside agencies who specialize in these areas can be brought into campus so that students are exposed to the resources off campus. By implementing a wellness center with proper staffing and turning Wednesdays into mental health days with resources available, students can receive the necessary resources needed to succeed both academically and mentally. Thank you for listening.
Wow, that was a great presentation. Thank you, Orange County. Now, for our final presentation, please help welcome the students from Poly High School in Riverside, California, who will also present on mental health.
Hello, I am Betty Calderon.
And I am Lourdes Bowen, and I apologize for the inconvenience due to my Wi-Fi. My camera has to be off. And we are from Riverside Poly High School.
And our project is on mental health in school.
Throughout the course of a week, we sent out a survey to high school students in the Riverside area questioning them on mental health and physical well-being.
In total, we collected 48 responses, which ranged from freshmen to seniors. As we examined the data, we noticed how the majority of students struggle with their own mental health, despite having easier accessibility than most. Next slide, please. From the surveys we collected, we focused on two major environments that influence students, school and the home. At home, we noticed 41.7% of responses said mental illness is a social taboo, with another 33.3% being unsure. This lack of awareness about mental health highlights how, even though the surveys do not consider mental health to be an issue, there is still a lack of proper resources to fully educate and help comprehend the importance of mental health. Alongside the taboo, we noticed from our results that mental health is a widespread and pervasive issue. Vast majorities of responses said their mental health has kept them from doing normal activities. 44 responses said their mental health has kept them from some activities, and 39 responses said this sadness has persisted for 2 or more weeks, which is the time period used to diagnose mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety. This extensive and widespread length of struggling means these feelings are not temporary, but a permanent burden on students that stem from a societal issue. Despite the need for help, 34 responses said they had not visited a school counselor, therapist, or psychologist for their mental health, and 18 admitted they seriously considered suicide. Think about that. Roughly 38% of students considered taking their life. 18 students felt dying was the better alternative to continuing to live like this. Nobody should ever have to feel like the last resort is ending their life, and yet the systems in place have fostered this environment where 18 students considered suicide, 93.9% of students know someone with or have depression, and 97.9% know someone with or have anxiety. And this is only at home. At school, the responses continue the story. Next slide, please.
Not only are students stressed in general, reportedly 1 in 3 students feel tired or stressed. The main stressors are schoolwork being 85.4% from our data and family being 47.9%. Including myself, I tend to be stressed from the overwhelming amount of schoolwork I get from teachers. What we also noticed is how over half, 51.1% of students know where to access help but don't, making themselves more emotionally exhausted. We wondered why this was, and what struck some confusion was mental health, but the majority strongly disagreed with the fact that there is an adult at school who can aid in their mental health. Since school is the main stressor, why weren't students talking to their teachers or counselors letting them know how they feel? We wondered about this. Many students tend to keep these feelings to themselves, and what was concluded was that students don't feel comfortable talking to their counselors or teachers about mental health. And this is where that taboo plays its part. Like Betty mentioned about the slide before, so many students have known someone or themselves had suicidal ideations, mainly due to school. Next slide, please. Out of our two main takeaways, we noticed that the main stressor amongst teens is school. And although students know where they can find help, there is this separation between school, students, and their mental health. What we need is for more adults to be vocally serious about the mental health situation in our schools. What we need is for students to be comfortable and used to the normality of how much mental health plays a factor into their lives, your lives, and our lives.
On top of students becoming isolated from school and how mental health connects to their life, there is a heavy social stigma weighing them down and preventing the students from asking for help. Students can see how mental illness affects them and others, but this heavy social pressure prevents them from doing so, creating this debilitating reality where the student knows they need help, yet all they can do is suffer silently and unnoticed. We need to change this toxic silence and start a meaningful conversation, and school is the perfect place to start this movement. Next slide, please. The first step to bringing change is increasing the students' accessibility to their counselors. Counselors need to be implemented more in the students' daily lives and included in school activities, such as orientation and lunchtime assemblies to familiarize students. Additionally, students need devoted access to trained therapists and school psychologists. The American School Counselor Association recommends one counselor for every 250 students. In California, the ratio is one counselor to every 708 students, if any counselors are present in the district at all. And in our home district of Riverside Unified School District, there is one counselor to every 849 students. Current counselors are understaffed and overworked and cannot dedicate the proper amount of time to student mental health. There needs to be a greater amount of counselors, therapists, and psychologists who can work with the proper amount of students and provide the best care and help to students struggling with their mental health. These counselors can make a substantial change in someone's life, and I can testify to that. My little brother was diagnosed with depression and anxiety when he was 9. He had a detailed plan for committing suicide and almost went through with it. However, a school counselor took notice, started giving him counseling, and then recommended him to an outside service where he then went to therapy with my family and started taking medication. My brother would be dead if not for school counselors. They saved my brother, and I owe so much to the woman who noticed him. There are countless other students like my brother who are overlooked because school counselors, therapists, and psychologists are stretched thin. These students might no longer be alive. I am lucky, but far too many are not. Increasing the ability to school counselors can do so much for students' mental health.
Another step we can take to eliminate that strain between students and their mental health is to reduce the social stigma by introducing awareness in school programs. There can be a section where students and their teachers will focus on the importance of mental health with sex education, because mental health is just as important. Alongside doing that, there can be extra steps to train teachers of all grades about mental health and how they can help reduce the risk of stress in the school environment. By incorporating mental health awareness in everyday student lives, we don't have to struggle with the feeling of being alone when experiencing forms of depression, stress, or anxiety. I have fallen victim to those feelings, not wanting to sound like I'm complaining or not wanting teachers to feel pity on me. But for future generations, knowing that these negative feelings are okay and that everybody goes through them by addressing these situations in school, whether it be assemblies, programs, or classes, makes it so much easier for them to confide in counselors or teachers when they are in need of mental help, possibly even making the high school experience more enjoyable.
18 people have said they seriously considered suicide.
We cannot stress this fact enough. 18 students almost took their lives, and most cited in school is the largest anxiety inducer.
Mental health is a critical part of our lives that has become a life or death situation. And by listening to us, you can help save lives and improve the lives of so many others.
You can make a difference. Any one life saved is worth the effort. And with just a little more, we can save so many others.
Thank you for listening and allowing us to speak this afternoon. And please, never forget those 18 students.
Thank you.
Thank you, Betty and Lourdes, for your amazing presentation. And congratulations to all the groups. Excellent work. I am highly impressed with all the presentations and recommendations. The future is bright for us with you leading the way. We've asked a few of the Latin ladies to stay and to take on a couple of questions. For that, I will turn it over to Hope's Deputy Director of Youth Programs, Diana Amaya.
Hi, Jessica. Thank you for emceeing today. As I wait for the ladies to come up, actually, I'm going to invite, I know we have another guest here with us, Senator Josh Newman. So I'm going to actually invite him to say a few words as well, and then we'll have our young ladies, answer the questions that you all may have. So as we try to bring Senator Newman up, bear with us one second. I just want to say I've had the privilege, I think we might have one. Senator Newman.
Yes, nice to see everyone. Good. Am I on, Diana?
Yes, we can hear you.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you for having me. I may not say, I may say fewer words than Assemblyman Choi did, but I'm very grateful to be invited. I snuck on early, as Diana probably noticed, and I had the pleasure of watching a number of the presentations. So really impressive. I want to say both in the way you presented, but also the information that the presenters presented, and not only well done, but very important. So as an example, to Daniela from Solano County, the answers that you touched on to the survey questions on the teaching of race and ethnicity were really eye-opening. And I say that as a member of the legislature, and to the members of Girls Inc. of Orange County, Alejandra, Natalie, Bella, Abigail, Cindy, and Jasmine. Really impressive, right? And so one of my duties as a member of the California State Senate representing Orange County, LA County, and a little bit of San Bernardino County is I serve on the committee. There's something called the Special Committee for Pandemic Emergency Response. And the importance of mental health has never been clearer than in the last 14 months. And you women have lived through it, and your presentation really got to some very important issues. And I could not agree with you more about the need for better access in school to culturally appropriate and fully resourced mental health care services. So if you could, and if Diana, if you could coordinate, I'd love to get a copy of your presentation. I want to share it with my staff. And as I've watched today, a saying came to mind. There was a guy named William Powell who wrote a book called The Anarchist Cookbook. And he said something which I think you should remember, and it's about power, right? And so power is not a material possession that can be given. It is the ability to act. Power must be taken. It is never given. And that's exactly what you young women are up to today. You're on an exciting path. I'm really impressed by your work today. I'm grateful for your participation in this forum. And I will look forward to working with all of you as you move forward. So Diana, Jessica, thank you for having me. Wonderful job. And by all means, keep my office involved in anything I can do to support you. I'm glad to do it.
Thank you, Senator Newman. And yes, we will absolutely share the information with your staff in your office. Thank you for being here. And thank you for listening to our youth. That's wonderful.
Thank you for letting me sneak in and do that. So I really enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. So I'm going to bring back our youth experts. We have some great questions for them. I will say we are running short on time, and there was a portion where we were going to ask folks to write in their public comments, or if they wanted to say a few words. But I think we want to get through some of these questions first. So if we have some time in the end, we'll try to get to maybe one or two folks. But I'm waiting for our youth. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Elizabeth. Hi, Kitty. All right, I think I'm missing a couple more, but we have some great questions for you all, and I'm going to start with a question from actually our board member, Nora Dominguez, who you guys met earlier, and she asked, what was the most difficult part of collecting your research? So I know you all did this in your groups and you all had different experiences, but maybe if one or two of you want to share what was the hardest part of collecting that research.
So the hardest part for us was probably just finding research that like related to our presentation, because it was on mental health and there's obviously a lot of data like about it, but we needed like specifics that would go with like Latinx or Hispanics and then schools. So I think that was probably like the hardest part.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's actually the hardest part of research for Hope too, is finding data that's specific to Latinas. So yeah, anybody else want to share about their experience collecting research? Yeah, go ahead, Akimi.
So I think the hardest part, and you could agree with me, was even giving out the survey, because for some reason it was a really big struggle trying to get the survey out to people, and we weren't really able to until kind of last minute, but not really. I don't know. It was just a big struggle trying to get people to help us, but we got through with it.
Yeah, Akimi's group and Kern ran into some roadblocks with their school administration, but luckily some magical person helped them get their survey out to a few folks, so they got some great responses. All right, so I think we have a couple more questions. So do you, based on your research, have you found different ways to advocate for your communities, or are there issues you didn't know a lot about before that you are now more interested in learning about? So for how many of you was the issue that you selected was like one that you already knew a lot about? Elizabeth? Okay. For how many of you was this issue like a new one? Yeah. Lisette, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience? Lisette did a focus group instead of a survey. And I remember one of the questions you asked, one of the first questions you asked was, did they know what civic engagement was? Do you want to share a little bit about what you knew about civic engagement before?
Yeah, so I sort of did not know the hard definition of what civic engagement was, but I kind of had a clue, like, oh yeah, it has to probably do with what you kind of support and help your community with. But even then, there's more to it. And I was kind of surprised that most of the students that I asked these questions, they were kind of unsure about what it meant as well. And they were like, I do all those things, but I didn't know there was a name to it. So knowing that kind of was like, whoa, both a cool moment for all of us. And at the same time, I know that there's so much going on right now in the world. There's so many issues. And I feel like the youth is aware of them, but sometimes they don't know the cold facts of what's going on. They either listen to what their parents' opinions are about it. So there's a secondary source against so there's a bunch of ears listen, and then it's the storyline gets kind of altered on the way to when you hear about it. So I feel like having a place where they kind of give you oh, here's what's going on. This is a fact. This is what's went on, and what do you think about it? And just leaving it open-ended so the youth can understand and just kind of make their own opinion out of it without having another person kind of no, yeah, that's wrong, this is right, or I believe this, so maybe you should believe it as well. I feel like having a place where none of that happens and just kind of letting them simmer with their own thoughts will really help people and kind of make them a bit more aware and urge them to want to continue supporting or helping their communities.
Yeah, well, thank you. So I'm going to close out where we're just about time. So I'm going to close out with this final question. I know we had two legislators join us here today, and Senator Newman's staff, and we had another staff member, a couple other staff members from different legislative offices join as well. So the last question is, how can legislators work better with young people to move legislation forward or to highlight issues that are important to youth? How would you like them to engage you all? Go ahead, Betty.
And I thank the legislators who are here today for taking the time to listen to us. One of the major things I think legislators can do is, first of all, advocating in the Senate and the House of Representatives, just being that legal advocate for us, even if we don't see it, acting upon that just helps us so much and can further our benefits. And also, but reaching out to us specifically, you can do like social media campaigns online and talk to them. You can reach out to schools, and having more of a presence to students and appealing to our demographics, such as mental health awareness, can really make us feel like we are being listened to and make it seem like our voices are being heard. So reaching out to us via social media, via school, even attending school assemblies can really help that aspect.
Anybody else have any advice? Yeah, go ahead, Dana.
Well, definitely, I would agree with Elizabeth, because when we have our voice, or when we express our opinions, we want people to listen to us. We don't want to be mocked. We don't want to be shut down immediately. We want to actually get our voice considered, all of our opinions. We want to be listened. And of course, we want everything to be considered. So there should be a change at some point so we can feel safe, we can feel listened, and actually feel like we're helping out to make our community, instead of just, oh, we want this and this because of this and this, and then not be taking anything into consideration. So of course we want more people to listen to us, and I think that would be the best way to actually listen to and take everything into consideration to make the community change.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else? Final words of advice for legislators, how they engage youth. All right, you guys good? Well, I want to thank you, and I want to just acknowledge you and your peers for the hard work that you guys have been doing over the last 3 to 4 months on this project and on everything else that you guys have going on. I just want to let the audience know that you have been balancing this project, your regular coursework, and at the same time. So my hat is off to you all. You've done some amazing work, and I agree with somebody in the chat box posted that our future is bright with all of you leading the way, and I couldn't agree more. So that is it for us. I'm going to invite Jessica back so we can say our final thank yous. I did want to share that if you want to learn more about HOPE or our youth program or this work, you can join us on our listserv or learn more about HOPE on our website, www.latinas.org. We will be sharing today's recording and the presentation materials on the website that I just dropped in the chat box. But thank you so much, everyone. And Jessica, feel free to close us out.
Well, thank you to everyone for joining us today. And thank you to our HOPE participants. You did an amazing job. We hope everyone has an amazing rest of your week.